Hello YouTube. Today I'm just going to do a quick talking head video. Something on my mind. Now, I deleted a lot of talking head videos and I don't really want to do YouTube as a job or anything, but I want to talk about fatherlessness. Now, fatherlessness, to quote Jordan Peterson, is a catastrophe. Now, my dad died when I was 8 years old. He was an alcoholic. He died right in front of me. He had a seizure, his eyes were in the back of his head, like, ah! And he got taken away in a hospital bed to the hospital. And the last thing I ever said to my dad was, they put the mask on his face to assist with his breathing. I was only 8 years old, man. So the last thing I said to my dad was, he's breathing like Darth Vader. And he looked over at me with this look of pure and utter hatred in his eyes as he got carted away to the hospital, where we hoped he would be okay. But unfortunately, alcohol is a terrible thing. And my father died that day, February 3rd, 2007, when I was 8 years old. My little brother was 7, and he's far more competent as a man than I am. But I got bullied horrifically in school, and I think I'm doing a master's in September to try and get a career going. I have a dream for my 50s to start a business when I'm in my 50s. It's going to take a lot of money to start it, and then hopefully roll on with security. Just a small business, you know. One day. It's my dream of mice and men, George and Lenny, when I'm in my 50s. And do that in my old age to try and avoid a retirement home. That's my plan. That's my dream. But I want to talk about the impact of fatherlessness on me and on... I had a really good friend at university who didn't have a mother, and we bonded heavily. She was female and her mother died when her mother was an alcoholic as well, so we bonded a lot over that. But some things got complicated between us and we just sort of drifted apart. But that was a really tight friendship, and it ultimately proved to me that I don't want to seek friendship from women. But fatherlessness, now this is something that has been affecting me since I was 8 years old. Now, when I was a little toddler, in my formative years, my dad we had some good moments when I was young, when I was a toddler. My dad his name was Stephen, and, you know, we played football. He worked in trains, in the sort of grid. But the last 2 years of his life, he was unemployed and he was just drinking heavily because he had a heart problem that had affected him since he was a little kid. And I think he was in a lot of pain and he was trying to numb it with alcohol. So he drunk himself practically to death. And like a lot of alcoholics, they drink themselves to death before they admit they have a problem, because they can't admit to themselves they have a problem. And that's what happened to my dad. And I don't drink a lick of anything. I don't drink anything at the minute. Drinking after what happened to my dad, bad news. I'm never touching a drop of booze again. I vape, smoke a little bit of green. But the green, legalize the green, man. But my dad, we had some good memories. The most precious memory I have of my father. We were at a beach. Me, my little brother, and my mum, my two older siblings, and my dad and those two older siblings walked out into the ocean, and I could see them all the way on the horizon. And I was just on the beach building a little sandcastle. But that's the best memory I have of my dad is 2005, watching Peter Jackson's King Kong in the cinema. I looked over to my dad. I remember looking over to my dad while we were in the theatre. This movie is an insane movie. It inspired a love of the Empire State Building to me that lasted throughout my entire childhood. And I remember just looking over at my dad, and I felt safe knowing he was there. And then 2 years later, 2007, he's gone. He's just gone. And we had the funeral. I took 2 days off school after he died. And I remember I just went in. I went in. And I just started crying right away. The head teacher came up to me. And he took me to his office. We had a little chat. I don't remember what was said, but I just remember crying because I could feel people looking at me. All the other students, all the kids, the little kids. They were all looking at me. And I just started crying right there. I was a kid who just lost his dad. And I'm talking about this with my therapist at the minute, as well as a number of other things like pornography. I'd highly recommend therapy to people. And therapy and reading. You get a lot out of those. You know, great book. The classical philosophical questions. Religion, science. What a dichotomy. But yeah, I just started crying. The head took me to his office. We had the funeral. My mum was devastated. I remember that morning when he got carted away. We went bowling for my little brother's birthday, and she just was screaming. We got home, and my auntie was there, and we learned he had passed. And it has informed me, as a 27-year-old man, it has informed massively that I do not want children because of the impact fatherlessness has had on my life. I don't want children. You know, I think I don't want children. I can't. I will not take the risk of failing as a father. But anyway, fatherlessness is something that affected me very deeply throughout my life. And I would like... There's a movie I relate to about it. It's not, you know, it's The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, based on the Stephen King story. Jack Torrance, it's all about the drink and, you know, I'll not go into The Shining in this video, but I've studied it a lot. Because it reminds me of my dad and my mum and how bad some of the domestic violence was. And there's that little kid, Danny Torrance. You know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Yeah, that's where we're at now. We've got to find our way. We don't need a father. We'll find out. We'll figure it out. But fatherlessness. I mean, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about the impact it's had on me since day one. Now, since day one when he died, February 3rd, 2007, up to now, 25th of March, 2026. Now, I'm starting to become more at peace, as I'm 27 years old now, that I've never had a father. I'm talking to my therapist about it, so that's good. But I'm only now realizing how much it affected me, how much... There's just nothing there, you know, like... no, just nothing. Imagine nothing. Nothing. No one to talk to when you come home from school about your day. No one to discipline you. Now, my little brother's a very competent guy, but my household was a chaotic household after my dad died, and before he died, because of the alcohol. He was I remember he used to hide his beers in places around the house so my mum wouldn't find them. He was just gone, one day. He's breathing like Darth Vader as he gets rolled away. And, I mean, it's just nothing, like nothing. There's no one there. You don't have any... My mum did her best, and she still works to this day. She's approaching retirement age where she'll get the state pension. The mortgage, my parents paid £60,000 for their house when they purchased it back in 1989. 3 bedrooms. And that mortgage was written off when my dad died, 18 years after they purchased the mortgage in 2007. So, and my mum is determined to keep the home, to leave it to us in her will, her 4 children, because, you look at the real estate, like, that's gonna compound the value of that house. And ultimately, I feel like I'm not going to talk about... I think I've talked a little bit about why my father drunk to such an extent. There was discipline in the house when he was alive. I remember spankings, bare-butt spankings. The man, authoritarian. He did it. But when he died, all of that was just gone. The discipline, my mum got us an Xbox 360. And that was a beautiful thing. I got some great memories on that. Halo, Oblivion, great games. And gaming is a great hobby of mine to this day. I recently bought a PS5. Whoa. Now, fatherlessness I think it's a real catastrophe if you're a man. Because and among your peers in school, now secondary school, I sat my exams and I got into secondary school, year 7 to 13, or 11 if you go to sixth form, or you can go to, college. But I went to... Now, fatherlessness is catastrophic, but I'm losing my train of thought a little bit here, but he was so heavy drinking, man. Beer's just nasty beer. Addictive, unlike the herb. Can someone please... I personally think cannabis is illegal because there's more manufacturing money to be made in alcohol. Like with a weed, you just grow it. You can take a tolerance break and, I think there's a massive, good cup of coffee. But fatherlessness now. Secondary school, looking back, I absolutely see my lack of success with girls in secondary school as a result of fatherlessness and being born poor. I absolutely see a lot of my struggles in secondary school now as a direct impact of fatherlessness. And there was no understanding from any teachers. The kids, they don't understand, you know. Now, let me tell you what little boys talk about all the time. Little boys, you know what they talk about amongst each other? Their dads. And you're just sitting there while all the kids are talking about their dad, forming bonds, playing football, all that. You're just sitting there, silent, because you got nothing to say. Now, you got nothing to say. You got nothing to say about your dad because he's dead. You know what I mean? Now, fatherlessness. So, number one, kids, boys, talk about their dads all the time. Now, my biggest bully in school, he was this little prick. His dad's manufactures weapons and Formula One engines, and he's very wealthy. Just a spoiled, rotten little bastard who used to beat me up when I was trying to get into the football group. Now, just the complete opposite of me. This kid, he used to beat me black and blue. He was a violent kid. But I don't speak to him anymore. I eventually infiltrated that friendship group. It's the most superficial friendships ever, your school friends, when you don't have a father, like. And I don't even care, like, I've had some very good relationships and friendships in my life, particularly at college and university, but in school, I wouldn't say the first time I really started to feel lonely in my life was sixth form, after year 11, year 12. Because all my friends failed their GCSEs, the Nepo babies, who now work for their dad, proving you don't need qualifications. You just need to be a Nepo baby. I don't have the option to work for my dad, being dead and all, as my biggest bully goes on to work for his dad. So I'm just taking my time and plotting out to start that business when I'm in my 50s. That's going to take a bit of capital to get going, that I'm trying to earn. But that kid works with his dad. He worked with his dad as soon as he turned 18. He didn't have to go to university. His dad taught him everything. For me, I went to university. I went to university when I was 21. I was a little older. I went to sixth form when I was 16. In hindsight, I absolutely wish I'd taken a gap year right there. But, you know, when you come home from school, and the bullying I received in school at the hands of these two kids in particular was abhorrent. My arms were blue with bruises, and I basically attribute that bullying as the reason for a suicide attempt I had when I was 19, which is also probably trying to kill yourself when you're 19 years old. You've just turned into an adult. You know, that has to be an impact of fatherlessness. And I'm lucky I survived because I just took an overdose. I'm here in England where there's no guns. Imagine I'd had a gun when I was 19. So, my first real relationship with a girl, fatherlessness also plays a heavy role in the collapse of that relationship. Now this girl, she was an only child, and she had a father and a mother, and they had the most beautiful feature on her wall, on her staircase. Her parents had taken photos of her taking her first steps and put them in 3 frames on the staircase. And it's a beautiful feature, like. But I'm just thinking, looking back on that, 3 baby steps on the wall, Is that like in reference to the 3-step recovery program? Maybe get one of them to resuscitate my dad now, 19 years later, and get him clean off the booze. But, so fatherlessness impacted this relationship heavily in its collapse. Basically, I told a lot of lies to this girl, basically, just to get close to her. But I realize now that those lies, it was a rocky foundation to build a relationship, and it's no wonder it ended. But I didn't know how else to get close to a girl like that. I've not got a dad to talk about, which I only now realise at 27 is what I probably should be talking about to girls when I'm 19. My dad. No one even knows he's dead. My friends don't know my friends don't even know I don't have a father. No one in school ever knew. Because you can't see it on the mortal coil. I learned Hamlet at university, and by William Shakespeare, it's phenomenal writing. This mortal coil, like, shit. So, I lost my dad when I was 8, and I lost this girl, and I told her a lot, and I look at that bully. That bully, when we were in year 9, he got with the hottest girl in our year. You know why? Because he was talking to her about his dad's money. That is exactly the reason. I was happy for them. He was talking about his dad's money all the time, and that's why as soon as the girls heard about the money, they were skidding right over to him. Meanwhile, me, fatherless Matt, I'm sat there going like this, like Jay from the In-Betweeners, like me. And then he's like, yeah, my dad's so rich. Oh my God. Whoa. And I don't even know what I'm missing at that point in school. I don't know what I'm missing. I'm a kid. I don't know what I'm missing. And I realise now I'm missing a father as a kid because I'm acting like a class clown all the time. I got no discipline. Like in school, I did well enough in my GCSEs to get into sixth form. I went to university a few years later. But that's the thing, as a fatherless kid, you have no idea what you're missing. And you won't clock until you're in your 20s. That's what I was missing. That's why I have no friends as a kid. That's why I can't connect to other boys. Barely. And, that's just, the impact is catastrophic. Really, it is. I love my mum so much. She is a real baller. Like, she worked hard at a job. She's a pharmacist. She's really going to have earned her retirement when she gets that sweet state pension and gets to cover the bills on this 60 grand house. And yeah, what I'm saying is, as a fatherless child, you don't know you're missing out on that. You're just trying to stay on top of your schoolwork, And also, when the kids are arranging all these parties, I never got invited to a single party in school. You want to know why? Because I'm silent as the grave. Because I don't talk. Because I don't connect about my dad to the other boys. And, superficial mates, nothing real, no real friends, bonding over crap. And I never got invited to any parties. And the fatherless, the kids with fathers, they don't know, they will never understand the impact of fatherlessness on a child. They will never understand. Like, I hear people like Dr. Peterson, Jordan Peterson, say this is a catastrophe, this is awful. They will never understand that is why I'm the way I am. Or fatherless people in general are the way they are. They are quiet, they're pretty quiet, but when they do speak, they're trying to be funny, They're not trying to talk about their dads. And you realise you missed out on having a father when you get to your 20s, your whole childhood, and then you reflect. And, like when I was getting bullied, I would just take it. I didn't hit back. I can do this all day. Steve Rogers. Black and blue, man. Black and blue bullying. And you come home from school, you just watch TV, movies, play video games, escape. Imagine, do they feel bad these days that they bullied a fatherless kid nearly to death, had a suicide attempt in his life, self-harming? I feel a lot more at peace now. I feel a lot more at peace than I have at times in my life. I'm just thinking about how to start that business so I can avoid a retirement home. Small business. And do they have any remorse for all the beatings on a fatherless kid? No. This kid works for his dad. They make Formula 1 engines. As soon as he turns 18, he goes to work for his dad. So he's the way he is because his dad employs him. I'm the way I am because my dad is dead since I was 8 years old. And, I generally think people are a result of circumstance. All those corpses in Ukraine are corpses as a result of being Ukrainian. I'm an Englishman, and I refuse to be dead by 47 like my father. I refuse. You can try and kill me. I've had some struggles, codependency with girls, no father to talk to, no fatherly advice. My dad, I admit, I don't really think that being human is all that. More coil, where do we go? Where is he? Will I ever see him again? this is obviously the dichotomy of religion and science. So I'm wondering if I'll see him again one day and I can be like, Stick to the herb, man. Yeah. So, fatherlessness. No one to talk to, no guidance. No one to talk to about your struggles. No one to look up to in the house. No discipline. No opportunity. No teaching. Valuable life lessons like how to plumb a toilet. And everyone just looks at you like you're an idiot because you don't know how to do these things. But I'm like, I'm telling you, in this video, you've got your dad. You had your dad. All these people who look at me like I'm some kind of idiot, you look at me like I'm some kind of tool. You have a father. You know that? Your father has taught you how I have this other friend. He supports the same football club as his dad. You know what club I supported? A club all the way up in the northeast of England because I got addicted to the game FIFA when I was a kid, playing as them in career mode. And everyone's like to me my whole life, why do you support a club in the northeast of England? You want to know why? Because I don't have a father, and I got my father is. That's why. Because your father introduced you to your club. Your father introduced you to everything. My father, I'm at peace with it. And you know what? All these years later, I'm glad he's dead. Because my mum is at peace. She doesn't have an abusive man in her house twisting her nose. My mum's more peaceful now than she was back then. They should, she's happy. She doesn't drink, she just loves her tea. I love my coffee, coffee helps. Coffee is a great stimulant. I love a cup of coffee. But it's a catastrophe, really. And you don't know how much of a catastrophe it is until you get into your mid-20s. When you're a kid without your father. A kid. That's bad, man. Anyway, that's the video. Peace.